The one on the underneath is the large and powerful serratus anterior muscle. This is just part of it. To see it all, we need to move the scapula away from the body. This big expansive muscle is all serratus anterior. It arises from the side and front of the first 8 ribs. It runs back under the scapula, and it's inserted all the way back here along the medial border of the scapula. When the whole serratus anterior muscle contracts, it pulls the scapula forward around the rib cage. That's protrusion. When its upper or lower fibers contract separately, they help to produce downward or upward rotation of the scapula. Now let's look at those 4 muscles on the back. 1, the trapezius, is large and superficial. The other 3 are small and deep. The 3 deep ones are levator scapulae and the 2 rhomboids, rhomboid minor and rhomboid major. Levator scapulae arises here on the outermost point of the first 3 cervical vertebrae. It inserts here on the upper medial corner of the scapula. Levator scapulae helps to elevate the scapula. The rhomboids arise here from the 4th cervical to the 5th thoracic vertebrae. They insert here along the medial border of the scapula. The rhomboids elevate and retract the scapula. The large muscle which overlies these 3 is the trapezius. It's a beautiful but complicated muscle. The trapezius has an upper part and a lower part, which both converge on the spine of the scapula. The upper part of trapezius arises from the occiput, and from the nuchal ligament, and from T1 to T3 in the midline. It's inserted along the upper edge of the spine of the scapula, around the acromion, and along the lateral third of the clavicle. The lower part of the trapezius muscle is not so massive. It arises from T4 to T12 in the midline. It inserts here on the lower edge of this part of the spine of the scapula. When the whole of trapezius contracts, it powerfully retracts the scapula. When the upper part contracts, it powerfully elevates the scapula. Last on the list of muscles passing from the trunk to the scapula is the one on the front. It's pectoralis minor. Pectoralis minor arises between the 2nd and the 4th ribs. It's inserted on the coracoid process. Pectoralis minor produces depression of the scapula. There are 2 very small muscles to mention just for completeness. One is subclavius, which goes from the 1st rib to the clavicle. Its function is